Africa is crucial to the role of these 300 million. It is this 300 million. It was only after slavery that Africa could be divided by colonial powers. They didn't divide Africa until 1884, 1885 in Berlin. Thus the slave trade and colonialism are one and the same and must be properly understood. Unless you understand this, you will not understand this revolutionary process that Africa must now undergo to arrive at her continental unification, which she will arrive at. Now we said that it was stopped by capitalism, therefore just to get there, we must fight against capitalism. And we must fight against capitalism in every aspect. And of course, the most crucial aspect is the cultural aspect. Because each people have their culture, and their ideology for their struggle comes from their culture. This understanding has a lot to do, first of all, with the struggle for Africa and her continental unity. We said that she must be anti-capitalist. If she's anti-capitalist, it means she can only be socialist, because there are only two economic systems in the world, capitalism or socialism. That's all. There are no others. And there can only be two, because every economic system must answer one fundamental question. Who will own and control the wealth of the country? Who will own and control the means of production? The question can only be answered two ways. Either a few will own, or everybody will own. It's as simple as that. In America, where a few people own, they try to justify the right of a few people to own everything. But no matter how they have to justify it, the fact is there. When a few people own everything, these pigs who own oil will send you to spill your blood so they can get more oil and become richer. Capitalism is a backward system. And thus it must be clear here that if Africa is anti-capitalist, she must be socialist. Now, we must do some discussion with socialism because many of our people are confused on it. In the first instance, we know many are confused because they know absolutely nothing about it. Just because they live in America, you know America, the people in America are the most politically ignorant people on the face of the earth. I mean, politically ignorant. I mean, I live outside of America. You know, when a revolutionary regime seizes power, they burn all reactionary books. They ban all reactionary magazines. When a reactionary group seizes power, they burn all revolutionary books. They ban all revolutionary magazines. But in America, they ain't got to burn or ban nothing. They leave in the library. You don't read it. You ain't got to worry about you. Matter of fact, you don't even read your history books. If you don't get on television, you ain't gonna look for it. so we know the people in America are just ignorant, kept ignorant, made arrogant in ignorance, and since the system is racist, when it comes to us, it's double dose of ignorance. I mean, so just when we say we have to struggle against this system, we mean in every aspect. And the aspect that we must struggle against is in the aspect of its ideas. The socialism must come to be properly understood. We know nothing about it, and yet we take position against it. One man told me, well, you know, the reason I'm against socialism is because it comes out of Europe. Who told you that? I mean, who told you it came out of Europe? Just like some people think that Christianity came out of Europe because Jesus Christ is painted white.
The Palestinian.
Yes. So everyone is getting confused everywhere. No, socialism can't come out of Europe. Socialism is a universal truth. The laws of gravity are called Newton's laws in America. But you can't think that Newton invented that the body falls at the rate of 32 feet per second squared. Newton cannot invent that. The best we can say about Newton is that he is an astute observer. That's all. If I'm in Timbuktu doing any experiment with the laws of gravity, I come to the exact same conclusion that Newton came to, that a body in motion tends to stay in motion unless stopped by an outside force. Newton cannot invent this. Karl Marx cannot invent socialism. It's a universal truth. The best we can give him is an astute observer. But any man, any woman, if I'm sitting in the desert of Libya in North Africa looking at the relationship between capital and labor, I will come to the exact same conclusion of Karl Marx, that wherever capital tries to dominate labor, there will be a ruthless struggle against capital by labor until labor comes to smash capital and dominate it. My people's history showed me that in America. We smashed chattel slavery, which was nothing but capital covering labor. And this slave labor rose up and smashed it. So the laws of socialism are for everybody. Karl Marx's great contribution to humanity was not in the area of socialism. His real contribution was in the area of dialectical and historical materialism. But since they don't want you to know about that, they don't even mention it. Yes, but you must go and look at dialectical materialism and historical materialism. We say Karl Marx could not invent this. As a matter of fact, if you will do some reading, you will see there was a brother by the name of Ibn Khaldun who lived in Tunisia in the 11th century. And if you will go and read any of his books, I mean, if you just take Paris, it's translated, it's in your library. If you will go and just, we have people, we can dance. I got nothing against dancing, but we should just dance over the library. We need to read as a people, seriously. We need to read, seriously. Ibn Khaldun has the same terms that Marx has: surplus labor, origins of the state, origins of private property. And he wrote in the 11th century AD. And he was an African writing out of Tunisia. Consequently, once you know your history, don't get confused. Socialism is a universal concept. As a matter of fact, the very values of socialism come from communalism. And communalism rested in Africa very, 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 very long. As a matter of fact, if one would look properly at these values of communalism and socialism, one will see that Africa has the chance at being quickly arrive at a unified socialist continent. Because communalism rested a long time. Capitalism never had a foothold in our continent. And feudalism never reached to the terroristic aspects it's reached other areas. Thus, these communistic aspects of our values are still prevalent, and we will show it to you as we discuss more and more. Thus, we must understand what Pan-Africanism is. Pan-Africanism is an objective. The objective is a unified socialist continent. This objective was an evolutionary objective, us moving to unify our continent. It was stopped by capitalism. In order for it to continue, it can only continue as a revolutionary anti-capitalist movement imposing the economic system of socialism upon the African continent. Thus, you have a clear understanding of this scientifically, not based on anybody's thinking. So, Pan-Africanism is not an ideology, it's an objective. It can be achieved. Our ideology must come from our culture, and our culture certainly is different from others, because each people, using their own intelligence, finding themselves in any other area of the world, using the natural forces there, come to try to adjust life to make it amenable for human living, just like in every other society. So the cultural form is different, but in essence, it's all the same. Each people trying to make the forces of nature adaptable to the best possible living conditions. It's as simple as that. We say everybody will have different aspects of their culture. Let me give you an example. If you will look at the culture of Europe and the culture of Africa on the relationship to religion, you will find big differences. Of course, once you look at the history of Africa, you'll come to see and understand these differences. Africa's relationships with religions and Africa's relationship with spirituality is almost one and the same. I mean, the African people are very spiritual people, so much so that today they are more religious than just about any other people. I mean, they're more religious than those who gave them religions. I mean, it can be seen in our life. We are more enthusiastic about religion than we are about any other aspect of our life. I say jokingly all the time, but of course it has a serious base. If on any given Sunday, just in America alone, I could collect the energy that we give off at church services, put them all together, and direct them against the enemy, we would have been freed yesterday. So if you look at our people, you'll see we are very enthusiastic about religion. But this has a lot to do with our culture. Africa gave monotheism to the world, belief in one God. It was given to the world by Africa. Africa gave Judaism to the world. It was given to the world by Africa. Yes, you must know the first Jews in the world were Africans. You have to know this. It's your history. And I'm not going to send you to Dr. Ben. No, if you think he's crazy, I'm going to send you to Sigmund Freud. His last book, Moses and Monotheism. He documents it for you using historical, archaeological, and psychoanalysis proofs, among others. So it's there. Of course, the first Jews in the world were Africans. Since Africa gave monotheism to the world, and it was the only place where it was being practiced, the first monotheistic religion cannot develop outside of Africa. I don't care what reasons they give for getting into Africa to make their religion. I'm not confused. I know it has to come from Africa, and I know the first Jews in the world were Africans. Africa's contribution to Christianity, of course, everybody knows is overwhelming. The first country mentioned in the Bible